There's a moment in your life when you look around and realize something strange. Everyone you meet feels different. Some people light up a room. Others prefer to watch from the corners. Some speak their minds without hesitation. Others hold back, measuring every word. And maybe you've wondered why you're the way you are, why you process things differently, why you connect with some people instantly and struggle to understand others, why certain situations drain you while they energize someone else. And deep down, you've probably asked yourself, what if everyone was like me? What if the whole world shared my personality type? At first it sounds appealing. No more misunderstandings, no more feeling out of place, no more explaining yourself to people who just don't get it. But the truth is, if everyone had the same personality type, the world wouldn't just be different. It would collapse under its own uniformity, because personality isn't just about preferences, it's about balance. It's about what one person lacks, another provides. It's about how different minds come together to solve problems no single type of person could solve alone. And maybe you've never thought about it this way, but the friction you feel with people who think differently isn't a flaw in the system. It's the system working exactly as it should. Let's imagine it for a moment. Let's imagine a world where everyone is an extrovert. Every single person thrives on social interaction. Every conversation is loud, energetic, constant. There's no silence, no reflection, no pause. People talk over each other because everyone needs to express themselves immediately. Ideas fly around, but nothing gets refined because no one takes the time to sit with a thought before sharing it. The world becomes a stage where everyone performs, but no one watches. No one listens deeply. No one processes internally. Everything is reaction, no contemplation. And slowly, the noise becomes unbearable. Because without introverts, there's no balance. There's no one to slow things down, no one to create space for deeper thinking, no one to remind everyone that sometimes the best ideas come from sitting quietly with a problem before speaking. Now imagine the opposite. A world where everyone is an introvert, every person prefers solitude, every conversation feels like effort. People retreat into their own minds, their own spaces, their own projects. Collaboration becomes rare because no one wants to initiate. Social systems break down because no one naturally brings people together. Communities dissolve because gatherings feel exhausting rather than energizing. Ideas stay locked inside individual minds because no one feels comfortable sharing them out loud. The world becomes quiet, isolated, fragmented, and slowly connection fades. Because without extroverts, there's no one to bridge the gaps, no one to create momentum, no one to pull people out of isolation and remind them that some problems require voices, not just thoughts. But personality goes deeper than introversion and extroversion. Think about decision-making. Some people are feelers. They navigate life through emotion, empathy, connection. They consider how their choices affect others. They value harmony. They sense the emotional temperature of a room. They make decisions based on what feels right, not just what makes logical sense. Now imagine a world where everyone is a feeler. Every decision is made through the lens of emotion. Logic takes a back seat. Systems that require objectivity, like law, medicine, engineering, struggle because every choice becomes personal. Difficult but necessary decisions get avoided because no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings. Standards become flexible because enforcing rules feels harsh. Progress slows because every disagreement turns into an emotional conflict rather than a rational debate. The world becomes softer, yes, but also less structured, less sufficient, less capable of making hard choices when hard choices are required. Now imagine the opposite, a world where everyone is a thinker. Every person prioritizes logic over emotion. Decisions are made through analysis, efficiency, objectivity. Feelings are irrelevant. What matters is what works, what's rational, what produces results. Empathy fades. Compassion becomes a weakness. People become problems to solve rather than humans to understand. Relationships lose warmth because no one considers emotional needs. Art, music, poetry, everything rooted in feeling, loses value because it can't be measured or optimized. The world becomes efficient, yes, but also cold, mechanical, disconnected from the human experience. Because without feelers, there's no one to remind everyone that logic alone doesn't create meaning, that some things matter not because they're efficient, but because they make life worth living. Think about how people approach structure. Some people are judgers. They crave order, planning, closure. They make lists. They set deadlines. They finish what they start. They need predictability to feel secure. They organize their world so they can control it. Now imagine a world where everyone is a judger. Every person needs everything planned, every moment scheduled, every outcome predetermined. Spontaneity disappears. Flexibility becomes impossible. When something unexpected happens, no one adapts because everyone's plans are disrupted. Creativity suffers because creativity requires experimentation, and experimentation requires accepting uncertainty. The world becomes rigid, controlled, predictable, but also brittle. Because when life throws something truly unexpected, and it always does, no one knows how to improvise. Now imagine the opposite. A world where everyone is a perceiver. Every person prefers keeping options open. No one commits. No one finishes anything because something better might come along. Projects pile up half complete. Deadlines mean nothing because everyone operates on their own timeline. Systems that require punctuality, reliability, structure, like transportation, healthcare, education, fall apart because no one sticks to a plan. The world becomes spontaneous, yes, but also chaotic. Nothing gets built, nothing gets sustained. Because without judgers, there's no one to bring order, no one to ensure things actually get done. But let's go even deeper. Think about how people gather information. Some people are sensors. They trust what they can see, touch, measure. They live in the present. They focus on facts, details, concrete reality. They learn through experience, not theory. Now imagine a world where everyone is a sensor. Every person only values what's tangible. Abstract thinking disappears. Philosophy, theoretical science, innovation, anything that requires imagining what doesn't yet exist, loses value. People stop asking, what if, and only focus on what is. Progress stops because progress requires envisioning possibilities that aren't visible yet. Art becomes literal, conversations become surface level. Imagination fades because no one sees the point in thinking beyond immediate reality. Now imagine the opposite, a world where everyone is an intuitive. Every person lives in possibilities, patterns, future visions. No one pays attention to practical details. Projects fail because no one notices the small, concrete steps required to make ideas real. Systems break down because everyone's focused on the big picture, ignoring the foundation. People talk in abstractions that sound profound but mean nothing actionable. The world becomes imaginative, yes, but also disconnected from reality. Because without sensors, there's no one to ground vision in practicality. No one to ensure that dreams actually become tangible. And here's what most people never realize. Personality types don't just complement each other socially. They create entire systems of balance that make civilization possible. The thinker creates the structure. The feeler ensures it serves people. The sensor ensures it's practical. The intuitive ensures it evolves. The judger ensures it's completed. The perceiver ensures it adapts. The extrovert ensures people connect. The introvert ensures ideas go deep. Remove any single type and the system collapses. Remove all but one type and society becomes a caricature of itself. Functional in narrow ways, but fundamentally broken in others. Think about a workplace. If everyone is a leader, no one follows through. If everyone is detail-oriented, no one sees the big picture. If everyone is creative, no one implements. If everyone is analytical, no one innovates. The friction you feel when working with someone who operates differently isn't inefficiency. It's the necessary tension that produces complete solutions. Think about relationships. If both people avoid conflict, issues never get resolved. If both people love debate, connection becomes exhausting. If both people need constant attention, no one has space to breathe. If both people are extremely independent, intimacy never forms. The differences you struggle with in your relationships aren't incompatibilities. They're the very things that make the relationship whole. Think about your own mind, the parts of you that contradict each other, the internal conflict between wanting stability and craving change, between needing alone time and fearing isolation, between wanting to plan and wanting to stay spontaneous. That's not confusion. That's complexity. That's your mind containing multitudes. And that inner diversity is what makes you adaptable, capable of responding to life's endless variations. But here's where this becomes personal. Maybe you've spent your life wishing you were different, wishing you were more outgoing, more logical, more organized, more spontaneous, more confident, more careful, more like the people you admire. And maybe you've seen your personality type as a limitation, as something that holds you back, as a reason you struggle where others succeed. But what if your personality type isn't a limitation? What if it's your specific contribution to a world that needs every type of mind? What if the traits you see as weaknesses are actually the traits that certain situations desperately require? What if the version of you that feels out of place in one environment is exactly the person another environment needs? Because here's the truth no one told you. You weren't meant to be good at everything. You were meant to be exceptional at specific things. Things that come naturally to you but feel impossible to others. And the world doesn't need you to become someone else. It needs you to become more fully yourself, to lean into your natural strengths instead of spending all your energy trying to compensate for differences that aren't actually deficiencies. The introvert doesn't need to become an extrovert. The world needs their depth. The feeler doesn't need to become purely logical. The world needs their empathy. The perceiver doesn't need to become rigidly organized. The world needs their adaptability. The sensor doesn't need to become more abstract. The world needs their grounding. The thinker doesn't need to become more emotional. The world needs their clarity. What you need isn't to change your personality. What you need is to understand it, to see it clearly, to recognize both its gifts and its challenges, to learn how to work with your natural tendencies instead of fighting them, to find environments where your type thrives instead of forcing yourself into spaces where you'll always feel like you're swimming upstream. And maybe this is the moment you realize something liberating. The reason you feel different isn't because something's wrong with you, it's because you are different. And different isn't broken. Different is necessary. Different is how the world actually functions. So let me ask you something. What if, instead of wishing everyone was like you started appreciating what others bring that you can't? What if instead of seeing personality differences as obstacles, you saw them as resources? What if instead of judging yourself for not being like someone else, you honored the specific way you're built? Because the world doesn't need everyone to be the same. It needs everyone to be themselves, fully, unapologetically, courageously. And your personality type, whatever it is, isn't a limitation. It's your lens. It's how you see the world. It's what you contribute. It's why you matter. And the most powerful realization, you don't have to become everything. You just have to become fully you. because in a world of infinite complexity, your specific way of being is exactly what some corner of the world has been waiting for.